Hey, good evening, loves. My name is Askisia Bradley, and I'm here with Storytelling for Social Change. Hello. I am a single mother of four sons. They range in ages of 19, 17, 12, and 8. So they definitely keep me busy. I'm also a preschool teacher. I have three nonprofit organizations out. Askia's Angels is my main focus, and under the umbrella of Askia's Angels, I have PAR, People Against Racism, and Hope for Homeless, which we travel to Louisville on Sundays and feed the homeless community there as well. So this is my story. I have faced racism and discrimination for as long as I can remember. I grew up in Louisville, and at the time we were going to all black schools, and I don't know if I'm telling my age when I tell this story or not, but that's back when they started the busing system. So they would take African American kids out of the schools that they were in, and they would bus them to mostly white schools. So my brothers and I were a part of that, and so we had to go to these mostly all white schools. So we did have a lot of racism and discrimination while attending those schools. Thank God we had teachers who really loved to teach and wanted to make a difference, so they made us feel like we were accepted even though the other kids didn't. I've lived in 3 or 4 different counties here in Kentucky: Taylor County, Barron County, and I've also lived in Warren County. I would have to say that I've experienced most of my racism here in Hardin County. I've been here for about 12 years off and on. When I first moved here, I was with my ex-husband. Our kids have had to face racism as far as in schools. On the sports teams, they've been called names that I wouldn't call anyone, not even my worst enemy, which called me to advocate on their behalf, and that's the reason why I started PAR, which originally started out as Parents Against Racism, because I wanted to get into these school systems here in Hardin County, especially the county school systems, and try to make a difference, because I think that knowledge is power. So my main focus was to try to educate people. And I think that the way that we do educate people is we get to know one another. I can't speak from someone else's perspective the same as they can't speak about my perspective. I have been a victim of police brutality while here in Hardin County. I was racially profiled because of the neighborhood that I was in, and I was tased while in the back seat of a police car. Still traumatic for me till this day. I still get teary-eyed when I think about it. It happened in 2012, September actually, and it was hard for me. You know, you hear stories about people who have been racially profiled and people who are victims and survivors of police brutality. For a long time, it was hard for me to forgive these people because they never stopped once to ask me what was going on during the dispute. They never even asked me whether or not I was involved in the dispute. They just automatically assumed that since there was a fight, that I was included because of the color of my skin. Because of that, I did go to jail. They were trying to charge me, because you know they try to cover things up, so they were trying to charge me with a felony assault on the police officer. I had to pay expensive attorney fees to get off because I had no prior charges and I was innocent. But like many innocent black people, I did have to take a plea to keep from going to jail. Because I took a plea, I could not sue the police department for what they did for me, because taking a plea is admitting guilt. I did call the NAACP to try to take change, to try to take action against the police department. But I was denied because the leader of the NAACP at that time had police affiliations and didn't want to take the case. So as a black woman in Hardin County, I've got to say it's been really hard for me. But there are really good white people in Hardin County. Let's make that be known. I work with a group of great people, and they just happen to have a skin color that's lighter than mine. So with PAR, all of us wanted to kind of reach back out to the community, and let's fight all racism. That's our mentality. I don't know really what else to do but to make a change, not just for me, but for my sons, who are Black sons, and for other people in the community whom I love and adore who just happen to have a different skin color than me. Okay, so here's my call to action. I think that we need to keep the lines of communication open. I think that knowledge is power, so we have to figure out a way to educate ourselves about our history as African Americans, and to also educate ourselves on other cultures. I think that it's important for us to all be open-minded. PAR's come up with different ways that we think that we can end racism. And one of those things, especially when it comes to police brutality, is that the police have to have more positive interactions in their community. It's important that we develop that rapport, because whether we want to believe it or not, we need the police. We need good police who love their jobs and who love their communities. And we also need to love ourselves, and we need to love our communities. So the main call to action, I would have to say, would be just to love each other. What the world needs is love. My name is Askisia Bradley. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story. God bless you, and I'm here with storytelling for social change.